Hello, my name is William Trentham, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Linux family of operating systems. There are many misconceptions about Linux, such as installing, using, and keeping the operating system secure. However, Linux comes in many variations, and there's probably a Linux system that will do and be exactly what you are looking for. Let's start off by looking at a few of the advantages of using a Linux operating system. First of all, most distributions of Linux are completely free. This means even if you wanted to give Linux a try, you could without any cost from your own pocket. Linux also performs very well for multiple users or for bringing new life into old computers. This means Linux may be a great choice if your computer isn't running as well as it did when you first got it. Another advantage is the sheer amount of options a user has for Linux. There really is a Linux system out there for everyone. Security is also a major concern for most people switching to Linux. I'll talk a little more about the advantages Linux has over other operating systems a little later in this video. Linux is open source, meaning even if you don't like the way things are set up, you can make the changes as long as you know enough about programming to do so. Now that I've gone over a few of the advantages of Linux, let's look at installing a Linux system. There are several ways of running a Linux system. For this video, I will go over installing a Linux system as a primary operating system. However, before using this method, I'd highly recommend using a virtual machine to make sure you like the system before making it your primary operating system. Once you have decided which Linux system you want to use, you will then download the image of the system to a flash drive or CD/DVD-ROM. Once you have the image on the flash drive, you can dual boot it, which would be my preferred method because it allows you to continue to run Windows or Linux when initially booting up the system. You could also make it your primary operating system from the flash drive. Dual booting really has the added benefit of being able to still use Windows if needed. The drawback is you'll have to change back and forth between the two whenever the other is needed, which would require a computer restart every time. This decision will be made during installation and will be dependent on what you plan on doing with the current system you have. So when you're downloading a new Linux operating system, I kind of prefer Ubuntu, so here we have it. You're just going to simply click download. It's about 9 gigabytes to download this operating system. It'll download just like any other download. You can simply go to your download files. Right here we've got Ubuntu 18.04.2. Now, depending on what you're going to do with this, you either are going to take this and open it using your virtual machine, just from this image here, or you're going to download it to a CD or DVD or a thumb drive, just depending on what you plan on doing it and what you have available. Now that we have installed a Linux system onto our computer, we will now go over its use. One of the main benefits of Linux is the customization of it. Linux is open source. That means that anyone on the internet can customize the source code. This allows a user to match exactly what they need from the system. If you're used to Apple, you can get a Linux system that's similar on a PC. Or if you're used to Windows, you can get a system that is like Windows on an Apple. So right now, as you can see, the login is similar to your PC or your operating system that you use now. So we'll wait for this to load up. So here's Ubuntu Desktop. This is an older version. So as you can see over here on the left, we've got a word processor, Excel spreadsheet, PowerPoint, Firefox, files, Ubuntu software here, Amazon, our settings, and then up here to search our computer just like with Windows. So the only big difference here is this is on the left instead of on the bottom like a typical Windows operating system. So now that I've talked about the basics of using Linux system, I'll now talk about the security of Linux. Many people have a misconception about the security of Linux because it's an open source operating system. The misconceptions couldn't be further from the truth though. While Windows and Mac OS have great security features in their own right, they both suffer from having a larger user base, especially Windows. This means there are more systems and more people that are fighting to break the security systems within them. The real advantage of Linux systems have over the bigger systems is the white hat coders are always looking at the Linux source code. Windows will typically wait for a major issue to occur before they actually do an update to try to fix all the smaller issues as well. This causes the system to have far less updates than Linux does. With Linux, there's always people looking at security issues. That means security risks are updated at a much quicker rate than on major operating systems. For the end user, this makes the system more secure as long as they are keeping their systems up to date. I have now given a brief overview of the Linux operating system, including the advantages of Linux, how to install it, the look and feel of Linux, as well as the security. Linux isn't made for everyone. However, by using a virtual machine, a user can try Linux without having to worry about messing up any of their current operating system settings. This is what I would recommend for anyone new to Linux. This will allow you to play around with the operating system and figure out if you like it or not. It will also allow you to try different Linux systems to see which one fits you best. Virtual machines don't run quite as well as if you were using, say, a booted or a startup, because you will be running two operating systems at the same time when using a virtual machine. Once you find a good Linux system, you can either make it your OS, or you can dual boot it and use it in all of its glory. No matter what you do, it is important to remember Linux is not difficult to configure as it has been made out to be, and it's worth the try, at least for a virtual machine. Here is a list of my resources that I used for this video. If you'd like to see any more information about Linux, please go to these sites and check it out. Thanks for watching.